late to rotation.
It's really, yeah, it's not.
Now he has to throw
really
against left to right.
For you to command your fastball, you get probably really divey with your trunk like that. So like when you're hitting the ground here, look at the position you're in right there.
Yeah.
With your front leg. So that's trying to clear out of the way as you're trying to rotate. It doesn't stabilize until like you're getting ready to throw the ball.
Now, do you think, obviously down the slope of a rubber, that would have more time to clear?
I think so.
More time.
I think what I did flat ground personally was I would short stride by probably about 1.5 feet.
Gotcha.
Because we were forced to throw flat grounds in the Cubs organization, so they flipped everything. So it's like I knew I didn't like flat grounds.
Yeah.
I knew I like short boxes because I like feeling the slope, and I'm a tall dude, tight hips, had a short stride, and I always got yelled at, stride out.
What I've been trying to do more, and you do really well, is like sinking and like rotating rather than.
Well, your hips can't rotate effectively unless you drop.
Right. See, I sink and I push out, and then I try to rotate late, but like I'm in so much extension.
Well,
back
that's
here
the thing.
That I have trouble.
And that's the thing, dude. Is like it's not late. It's not delay. Like the hips go right as soon as you drop. The hips are gonna go. The trunk is delaying, but like your thing, I would say like if you were to go here, preset your hips already like at anchor point and throw like a fastball on a rocker, you're probably like 100% efficiency, or at least close to it.
Uphill. You're saying
I wouldn't say uphill, just saying like get your hips to clear, right? Preset your hips in a clear. I don't know where you're with this on this, like just to kind of see where you're at. And then just like throw, and then you can kind of determine like, oh, that's where my front leg needs to be able to brace, just so you can sequence better.
Because I'm like across
Because
there.
a lot of people think like delay, build, rotational energy, but like that's not necessarily the case, because now your sequencing is all broken down. What app is that?
Dive into your knee. And so you can see you're stuck there. Your hips are stuck closed because you're, like when you get here, you're locking this out almost. You're not in any hip flexion. Like that's hip flexion. Watch guys, you don't have to have a shit ton of hip flexion or anything, but you have to be back in your hip. Guys that go here.
Rotating around that, right? Around that back hip?
Depends on your internal rotation and your back hip.
My internal rotation on my right side's bad.
Well, yeah, because you're overusing
then
it.
you need to be, like, you'll see like a Fernando Rodney is like, keep this as an anchor point completely still and turn his whole body into it. That's internal rotation. He has a ton of it, and he like maintains
keeps that.
Same thing with like
Japanese
Diego Castillo, dude, for the Rays. He's the same way.
Yeah,
but that's why you would say like Walker, right? Like Walker, he's a guy that like I'm assuming, I don't know, I've never talked to him, but he presets. Yeah, so he presets now. So now when he drops into his load, his next move is into the hip, rather than if like you're flush, it's really hard. You have to have that authentic like hinge move. So then you can go quad dominant. Now you're setting yourself up to then late rotate.
So like, your hips are locking up because of your first couple movements coming out of your leg lift.
Yeah.
You'd probably be able to get it out of the slide step. Your velo probably wouldn't be there, but it's probably a lot easier to
out of the slide
step.
I have a video for me at the Cape out of the slide step, and my mechanics look like much better.
You went to the Cape?
Slide step, yeah.
Sick. Just a little humble brag you threw in there?
Well, I mean,
Where'd you play in college?
I have, what was that? Hit
Where'd
John
you play in
Stein
college?
D2.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, dude, because like with your slider, I mean, did you film his slider? I feel like his slider, he gets going a lot earlier because he has to. You have to, yeah. But like fastball, I think it's a conscious, like, what is the mind's perception of velocity? It's delay, build, store, and then like late release to then get everything to go quicker. Slider is not the case. Slider, the goal isn't necessarily velocity. The goal is to get on time in your slot.
Yeah.
So then you could go earlier, right? Because you have a good path with like your hand. So like you do a good job of like the trunk staying in that same posture. Your hips just need to segment.
Yeah.
Right? Hips need to go, hand needs to delay, trunk delays.
And I have that range of motion too. Like I can, in the gym, like I'm able to get into that range of motion, but for some reason when I get on the bump, it's like.
It's just motor patterns.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all skill side work where, that's why I'm here. I would start with, if your internal rotation's bad, you have to be able to differentiate externally rotating your femur versus turning your whole pelvis body into your back leg. So it's like this. I can set you up with something over there here in a second.
Yeah.
We do stuff with a band where we'll attach it here and let it pull you in like this, and then you have to physically pull it out.
Sensory
That's
input.
External rotation. And a lot of guys do that.
Ankle
You gotta have
inversion.
the big toe pressed, pinky toe, ball of the foot, heel.
Okay.
And you're
That's
there.
that's different from just normal ab adduction work.
Yes. Right. So you're not trying to AB duct or AD duct.
Adding to the midline is this way, abduction that way. You could also like get on the table and it's like an FRC principle, right? Just to like determine like, do you have the actual internal rotation capacity in time and space, right? You might just not be able to like own that position, which is freaking hard. But I don't know.
Yeah, I try my right side's pretty
I think a lot of it, wouldn't you say, is just like motor patterns, because he does it really well on his slider. So it's like you show the ability to sequence.
Just think somewhere down the road in your head, you started thinking a certain way to throw a ball hard, and your body's kind of adapted, and it's not efficient.
Really like that band move.
I'll show you.
Because everyone needs like that sensory input, right? Because you could sit here and do it and you're in space and you're not really feeling like the move. You said like inversion, right? Eversion. So like to have something that goes, okay, that's pulling, oh, boom, there it is, right? And it clicks, like boom. Your body would probably sequence a lot better in long toss.
It does.
Because the added acceleration that you have, like, so like a pull down. Right, so the added acceleration now is forcing your body's tempo to increase. So that's where like these go.
Yep.
The biggest thing that we see in here with young kids, number one, like they'll have bad ankles. Like they are completely flat-footed and like crushed in like this.
Been wearing shoes since they came out of the womb.
Right, and so like we see that, but their initial move coming out of like left
Is
the biggest separator.
Yeah.
Where you'll see, like even him, like he was, where were you, 87, 90 in the fall, and just changed one thing, like how he's trying to get into all this as he's coming out of his leg lift.
Yeah.
And it was like instant.
Well, dude,
92, 90, 93.
it's the initial move, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because that's not what anyone wants to hear. They want to be like, well, it's no hip shoulder separation, man. I need to do this.
Yeah, exactly. It's happening.
It's like,
because
bro,
of your first move.
you see it all the time though with like guys like will go pretty intense leg lift that'll take away their stability into the ground. So then they'll go inversion here, and now they're trying to pick up tempo. They'll go hip coil because they perceive that as power. And it's like, well, dude, you're freaking defying that acceleration into your
Something
hands.
as simple as just thinking about lifting your leg with your knee can be a game changer. Like, versus like,
Yeah.
get to where you have a decent amount of tension, not like a shit ton.
Okay.
Kind of let it pull you.
So it's all
Let it pull
rotation.
you.
It's no.
Right. You're maintaining the width of your feet.
Gotcha.
You're not shifting your pelvis back and forth.
Would you
just
say to
there.
like preset the foot in that position, or are you trying to get authentic movement as possible?
I mean, to start, just make sure your big toe doesn't come out, because that's going to be the biggest one, kind of coming back this way. And external rotation, you're going to want to do that.
Gotcha.
Just make sure what your foot tripod, or what do you call it? 4 points of contact.
Yeah, 3+1. Because that feels so much more comfortable without even the strap. Like out here's so much more.
Yeah, you feel
comfortable for
locked.
me to be in
You
than-
don't feel locked up. You feel like you have space.
Yeah, on obviously external rotation.
How many kids do you see try to like over manipulate that by like forcing their trunk like way back here?
We see a ton of this come into this facility, and we have to fix it. I won't get into that very much, but
Dude, I
go
used to be
outside.
the biggest
You're
like
good.
tilt guy.
So
Like
try
I
to go a
thought
little
like
lower.
this meant I'm getting more
It's, like,
energy
right above your
down.
knee. And you
Tilt
try it
back.
above, try it below. Below's gonna pull you more.
Think about like what the brain is like telling the body though when you're trying to do something with the lower half, like buy more time to feel it, so then it dips this way.
Try to preset your foot kind of toed out a little bit. There you go. That should feel even better.
Yeah, I'm feeling that more down into my quads. I thought it would be all.
So you're not gonna like force this in your delivery. You start doing that too much, you start getting a little awkward.
Yeah.
But it's just like having a general idea of how to get there, and then
Now,
you're just gonna.
when do I want to feel that, and when do I not want to feel that? 'Cause I feel like you don't want to keep your knee over your toe too long, obviously, right? Because then that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like initial positioning to help you, like what he's saying, sit. Like if you're like that, like that's hard, and that's why you're getting stuck and you're landing like
So
that.
I want to keep the tension that I'm feeling right now. I want to keep that as I'm in my initial move after.
Yeah, and it's not going to be.
It's a quick hold to like stabilize the incoming energy that you have coming down from your leg lift. So as soon as you stable it, then it's time to then transfer.
Chase where your brain was just going with that, what you're saying.
Yeah, because I feel like this would be nice to almost like play catch with if this wasn't in the way, because you could feel that tension and then let it go, and it would kind of take.
Yeah, we have an attachment where you can put a plate in front of you and have a little bit lower angle of pull, and you can try that for sure.
Yeah, because that would be cool to play catch with, because then I could keep that tension and record, obviously, so I know when I want to get rid of that